Come drive with me. Let's drive away. What a bad way to start a live. If anyone was waiting and they heard that, they would have run away, understandably. We're driving to town. I've got not one but two social engagements to attend. It's a busy night for touring. But I feel like hanging out, keeping me company. So many kookaburras around. Natsy. You didn't hear it, Blue? You arrived just on time. Just going to do a little swing down to the beach just to show you how the beach is looking today. Hi, Sunny. Hi, house. How's everybody doing? I wasn't going to go live today. I always say that when I go live. I'm an idiot. But I wasn't. I hadn't thought about the drive into town. And then it's like, hey, why not go live? Someone might be around who's caught up in the, groundhog days of our YouTube lives and they just want to hang out and go for a drive and get car sick. Or terrified because I'm driving on the wrong side of the road. Cute. A 3-month-old Rush Blue. Awesome. It must be so cute. I can't wait till I get my community page because then we can just start putting pictures of cute animals up for everyone to see. But you don't have to apologise to me for being busy. Oh, I completely forgot. I still can't pop the bonnet on my car. I can't. That was one of my jobs to do today. Was to. So I'm just doing a quick swing back around to the beach because I'm leaving home a little bit early. Not super early, but we should get an okay run into town. That being said, what's the bet we go in and we get stuck in traffic? It was a gorgeous day here today. It's only 13 degrees Celsius. But yeah, one of my jobs today was to go and get my bonnet popped of my car. But what the hell? Oh my God. YouTuber's live has started playing on my phone. What the hell? Hang on a sec. That's hilarious. I didn't close out of my other browsers. I honestly don't know the last time I was even watching YouTube on my phone. How bizarre. Beautiful waves today. Sun-kissed waves. Beautiful blue sky. It's so gorgeous. Oh, an RSPCA fund. Gorgeous blue. We're driving to town, Cody. Good to see you, Groover. Yeah, when you have premium and autoplay, I know, but I didn't know that I had browsers open on my phone. It's just hilarious that it was NewsTubers of all the people. I had to change the title of my video, the one that I said I'm NewsTubers Live, because it's apparently confused a lot of people because people just see headlines and they don't read the articles, those people. Or it'd be cold out there and it'd be refreshing. It would certainly wake you up. It'd certainly wake up your pores. Hey, Francesca, hello. So we're heading to town. I'm not wearing brown to town. Shalom, Ian. How are you, Groover? I haven't seen you for ages. I've got two things to go to. First, my sister-in-law and my niece Lily, who live in Singapore. Well, they moved to Singapore in January with my brother. They've finally emerged from their 2 weeks of quarantine in a hotel in Western Australia in Perth, and they arrived on Wednesday night. So tonight, my sister and I are going there to catch up with Nikki and Lily and my nephew Will, who's at university in Melbourne. So he's home as well. You've never seen the ocean? Oh, in person. I was thinking, I'm sure you've been on beach walks with me, Raven. So my uncle and auntie own an apartment in a suburb in Hobart called Battery Point. Yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it? But we need to head to town. Yeah, my uncle and auntie own a lovely apartment in Battery Point, and that's where Nikki and Lily are staying, along with my nephew Will and my other nephew James, their other child who's in boarding school, is staying with them as well. So I know that Nikki and Lily will be loving having their own bedrooms after being stuck in the same bedroom for 14 days in quarantine. Look at the sky, guys. Like a beautiful day. Beautiful winter. I was going to say winter's day, but it's still technically autumn. Actually, it's a proper autumn day. But with the sun out, it doesn't feel grim. That's what I love about living down here. People think Tassie's always grey and overcast, but if we go back through all the lives I've done, there's not that many grey and overcast days. You envy no pothole streets. Well, these streets they've been improving them because this area has become really popular. So they're actually making it a little bit suburban. They're putting in footpaths and see footpaths going in there. And when I built my house, the street I live on was a dirt road, and I loved it. It made it feel even more beachy for some reason. Hey, Joe Marjorie. So I really liked the dirt road, but they sealed it a few years ago, and yeah, they're putting in a lot of foot traffic infrastructure. My friends who live down this street here, 8th Avenue, that whole street's now got proper guttering and all sorts of shit. It's getting a bit fancy. So, yes, I'm going to go and see Nikki and Lily, who I haven't seen since they moved to Singapore in January, and my nephew Will, who I haven't seen since Christmas Day. I've seen James the most recently out of everyone because he still lives here. And then after that, I'm going to a group of girls that I'm one of my girl gangs. I generally don't tolerate large gatherings of women, but this particular group I love to bits. We're all on the same page. None like things like hens nights, when it's just all good. Oh, the donut van's here. We don't have time to stop. It's not the good, well, it's a good donut van, but it's not as good as the other donut van. And I don't really need a donut right now or ever. Can't start a diet and then first day go pig out on a donut. Well, it's not really a diet. I'm just eating sensibly again. Which leads me to why I didn't get the bonnet fixed so I could lift the lid and clean my windscreen or fill up my windscreen wiper fluid container thingamajig. Because I cooked I made a roast chicken so that I could have some chicken salad over the weekend, and I hadn't made it before, but I made a Jamie Oliver roast chicken. And it might sound really weird to you guys, but you put 2.25 cups of milk. Like, you have to do it in a big, heavy-based saucepan with a lid. So I got the big, heavy Le Creuset out, and you cook it for like 40 minutes with the milk, a cinnamon stick, and lots of sage and salt and pepper. You brown the chicken first, and then add all the other stuff, 10 cloves of garlic in their skin. And then you cook it for 40 minutes with the lid on at about 190 degrees. And then you take the lid off and cook it for another 50 minutes. Oh, my God, guys. Oh, thank you, Blue. We've talked about my whiny voice before. I don't know how you guys can handle my voice for more than a few minutes, which is probably why there's only 6 people watching now. Might be a bit early for us to catch a sunset, but hopefully you'll enjoy the drive. So then, yeah, after catching up with my family, I'm off to hang out with a group of girls who I love, who aren't like squealy, whiny girls in a group that sound like a pack of chickens. We're all pretty chilled out, and we catch up fairly regularly, although the girl that's hosting it, Ray, said, she goes, Tori, it's been 4 months since we've seen each other. Now, these are the friends of mine that bought a house down near where I live. And we keep missing each other. Like, she's been down there when I've had stuff on and vice versa. Oh, it was incredible, Joe. Like, honestly, my favourite roast chicken recipe is Matt Moran's, which is one where you put butter and herbs under the skin and lemons in its clacker. But this chicken, oh, my God, it is so moist with really crunchy skin. Oh, my God, it's so good. So, yeah, I'm going to be making some chicken salads for lunch over the next few days, and then I'll also make a big pot of chicken soup, and I just freeze them in individual portions, and I take them to work for lunch. I love having soup for lunch, and there's a beautiful bakery just down the road from our office, and I go there and get a really yummy bagel or something to have with my soup. But yeah, the milk factor was kind of weird, but I did it, and it's delicious. And apparently the sauce that's left in the pot is absolutely divine as well. So, and I did try a bit of it. It is really tasty, like so tasty. But I love sage. If you don't like sage, you probably won't like it. Sage and cinnamon and garlic and milk. It's bizarre, but holy shit, it's good. I'm making you hungry. Good. I was watching MasterChef. I've been tweeting Australian MasterChef because I know 2 of the people in it, but because they're in it for a while, the dishes didn't even get bloody shown. See, there's not even, oh, there's a drop of water. Great. Now I've got half a clean windscreen. I do have a bottle of water. I might just jump out and give it a bit of a quick wipe. Hang on a sec. I'm sick of having to manually wash my bloody windscreen every time I go for a drive. The downside of living at the beach is houses get so dusty. I swear to God, and especially now that I've got a really fluffy cat as well, it's like I just vacuum and dust like all the time. Oops, nearly grabbed the bottle of champagne. That would have been a waste. Yeah, sage I love sage too. It's beautiful. Is that a bit better? Not really. I mean, it's a bit better. Great. Half of it just came back in through the window and got me on the leg. And I have a wet jean leg. Oh, well. It's got to be a bit better. I love sage. My favourite sage recipe is really Something really simple, but my God, it's good. When you make a toasted cheese sandwich, instead of just having the cheese filling, put butter on the outside on the bread, then some sage leaves, and then wrap, like do a little cross of prosciutto, like get a thin strip of prosciutto, wrap it around, make it look like a present but without a bow. So it looks like a ribbon. The prosciutto is like a ribbon, but there's no bow. And then you pan fry it in a frying pan. And you get back to me and tell me if that is not the best toasted cheese sandwich you've ever had. But the secret is sage. 3 sage leaves on each side, wrap it in the prosciutto and pan fry it in butter. Oh, my God. We don't put any more butter because there's butter on the bread. It's so good. So good. I used to make that when we went out in the van. Gourmet toasted sandwiches, and they're so good. And they work in a Jaffa line. You've got one of those. Or, like a Breville. We used to call them Brevils, but like a toasted sandwich maker. When they first came out, Breville was the first company that you could buy in Tassie, so we always called ours a Breville. So good, though. Oh, my God, it's good. Yeah, it's really easy. And obviously put your favourite cheese in the middle. I tend to do with that one I put cheddar cheese with, like if I've got some yummy brie or, some wasabi cheese or triple cream brie with the truffle vein through it. Oh, my God. Anything like that, add that. But if you've just got plain cheddar, it's still divine. Or if you can mix a little bit of cream cheese, like a bit of Philadelphia into the cheddar and some salt and pepper and spread it on, it just makes it a bit more creamy. Oh, my God, it's so good. And then, yeah, the sage on the outside and the prosciutto ribbon. And you'll love it. But if you don't eat prosciutto, the sage will probably just fall off. But there's something beautiful about that crispy fried sage. Oh, my God. See, if I want a master chef, I'd do really homey cooking like that. I wouldn't be doing like my friend who's on it, the other one's the daughter of my friend, but my friend who's on it, he does the most exquisite desserts. I'm like, they're just crazy, full on, almost scientific kind of masterpieces. I can't do that sort of cooking. Hey, to everyone wandering in, I've just been on the freeway, so sorry if I've missed you. Hey, Kylie. Hey, to everyone that watches this on a replay, it's pretty lame. Well, it's lovely. We're all just hanging out, going for a drive, going to town. I've got not one but 2 gatherings to attend. It's quite a big Friday night for Tori. Tori Jane is busy this evening. But I suppose I should get to my drive therapy, hey, because that's a topic I would like to discuss. Because you might be wondering why the hell I put that in my title. I'm not hanging out with any smug married couples tonight. But I do want to talk about smug married, not even couples, but just smug married people. Now, that's actually a line from Bridget Jones's diary. What's worse than one smug married couple? Lots of smug married couples. And I have to agree. Driving and chatting's your jam? Well, then you're at the perfect place, Joe, because as you know, I do that quite a lot. I'd love to go live from my house soon, though, with a decent microphone and, cam up, say good day. I was very excited about the possibility of doing some scam baiting, and that prick hasn't got back to me. But I did get a call this afternoon for that Amazon scam, so I might call them back. I saved their number. And I know how to make mine private, but yeah, I might give them a call. So I haven't really been around YouTube in a few days, and apparently people still believe I'm YouTubers live because they just read the title of my video and are not fluent in sarcasm. So I had to change that subject, so change that headline. But I took a little hop, skip, and a jump to lots of different channels this morning when I was on my walk on the beach. And I hop, skipped, and jumped to a few channels that I don't even normally watch. And then I heard not one, but two, but three different creators all say something similar. And weirdly, I'd heard that line in a movie or something in the last few days as well. And I was like, oh, I want to talk about this because it kind of pisses me off. Now, YouTubers are big on talking shaming. Everything's fucking shaming, right? All the time. There's so much shaming going on. Well, tonight I want to address what I'm going to call single shaming, which is the shaming of the single person. Now, I don't get it because in my group of friends, I reckon 50% of my friends are single or not married. Like they might have a boyfriend that they've had for 20 years, but they're just not married. But out of my single friends, back in the 30s when I was in a relationship, my single friends back then wanted to be in relationships. But now that we're all in our 50s, every single person I know in their 50s is single by choice. Like, we've all had marriages and divorces or long relationships that have ended or 2 or 3 serious relationships. We've all kind of worked out by the time we get into our 40s whether we're the marrying kind or the long relationship without getting married kind or the stay fucking single kind. And I'm in the stay single but I have a lover gang. But I've also been in the single without a lover gang. And I'm quite happy in both. In fact, I'm happy as a pig in shit. In fact, I'm happier in this sort of single with a bit of fun on the side than I've been in nearly any relationship I've ever been in. And I can tell you right now, if I'd married any of the men that I was in serious relationships with, I wouldn't be married to them now. You're a long relationship, no married. See, there you go. Single by choice is a good place to be. Exactly. So what I want to say is, in my group of friends, and in fact, I know this is a massive generalisation, but in Australia generally, we're not a particularly religious country, but you also rarely hear a married person, when they're having a disagreement with a single person, say these words: are you married? And the other person who's disagreeing with them says no, and they're like, well, I can understand why. Well, that explains a lot. Or why am I not surprised? Fuck off, you single shaming assholes. Being single is actually a choice that many of us have chosen. Now, I love having a man in my life, but I also love that he's not driving with me now to go and see my family and then a group of my friends, and I've got to worry about whether he wants to go home before I do, or if he's not going to have fun, or if he feels like he's got to be there out of obligation. I love that I'm driving to see people I really want to see, and I don't have a person with me that I've got to worry about. Hey, Nicole. But I also love that when I do want some loving, someone to love. But if I went up on a panel with an American creator and they asked me if I was married, the answer would be no, because I'm not. And if the response from them was, oh, I'm not surprised, fuck you, you smarmy, boring married fuck. Now, look, if you're into marriage, if that's your thing, good on you. If you're single and you're all fucking happy as a pig in shit, good on you. Why do you never, ever hear a single person, as in single status person, enjoy blue, love you, mate, Albanian Ellis? Yes, it's just laps of Albanian Ellis. Oh, my God. It is just laps of Tasmania. Yes, you're right. That traffic going in the other direction is the start of the traffic I'm usually in on a Friday if I work, but I didn't work today, so woo! Hey, Grandma Ducky. Haven't seen you for a while, gorgeous. But back to my point before I hit the freeway and the audio gets really bad. I have heard in the last few days, just from, well, not the last few days, but the last few days of YouTube, jumping around a few different channels, I heard 3 different creators who were arguing with somebody make fun of the other person who was disagreeing with them because they were single by adding, oh, I'm not surprised you're not married. Who'd want to marry you? We do all work in the one building, yes. Yes, we do. But have you ever heard a single person in an argument with a married person when they're being an asshole going, are you married? Oh, I'm not surprised. Like, the same thing happens when you don't have kids. And luckily for me, I'm in that group too. I have never asked somebody why they've got children, ever. Never, ever, ever in my life have I asked someone why they have children. But do you know how many big times I've been asked why I don't? I swear to God, it is in the thousands. And it's still happening, and I'm fucking 54. I thought when I started to look like I was no longer of the age to produce a ban that this bullshit would stop, but it hasn't. Now I get the, oh, why didn't you have children? Fuck you. But fuck you, you smug married people. How dare you, when you're facing a discussion and somebody is saying something you don't agree with, and in one instance, what that person was saying was actually right on point. How dare you throw in the "are you married" comment, and then when they say no, use that against them and imply that because they have a differing opinion to you, they're a horrible person and nobody would want to marry them. Because I listen to you, married smug fuckfaces, saying that and wonder why the fuck anybody married you. It does, Albanian Nelson. It takes a lot of courage. And oh my God, if I hear one more person talk about the miracle of birth, are you fucking kidding me? It's just simple biology. Oh my God, the miracle of birth. It's so amazing. It's possible that 100,000 babies, humans, animals, insects, and of the seafood nature, have been born since I've been live. Oh, come on, Francesca, don't burst my bubble. It's a topic that I'm passionate about because of my child-free community, because we always get asked why we don't have kids. And you tell me, is that a good question to ask when you're pretty much not going to like any of the answers, and the person that has to answer that question could be somebody who wanted kids and they couldn't. They might be somebody who is child free by choice, and then you're instantly labelled a child hater. Or there's someone who's had 38 miscarriages, or they've had breast cancer in their 20s or 30s and they're rendered infertile. Smug fuckers. But yeah, this single shaming, listen to me sounding like a YouTube wanker. Fuck all of you. I thought about it yesterday. Oh, I can't read your comment, but it's probably awesome, Albanian Ellis. I'm a little bit early, so I'll stop at the docks for a quick 10-minute chit-chat before we head to Matching Point. But I had to think about it overnight. It's like, how many happy couples do I know? Like, truly happy. And I hate to break it to you, but most of them are not 100% happy. There's a couple of couples in my life that are sort of like couple goals for me. Not for me personally, but I think, well, if you're going to do that and get married, you guys are nailing this shit. But most of my married friends, when we catch up, spend quite a chunk of the time we're talking about how much their partner, husband, wife, is giving them the shits. Fact. Do you know what my single friends talk about? All the amazing stuff they're doing, the things they're studying, the places they're travelling to, the lovers they're loving. I do not have a friend now that we're all in our 50s who's like, I wish I had a boyfriend. We've all been there and done that. Boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And we're all kind of like, yeah, it's fun to muck around with a penis or a vagina, or whatever floats your boat. But I'm glad I don't have to wash their undies or wake up next to them every fucking day for 80 years. You know what I mean? But what a lame argument. I think, when people resort to name calling in an argument, they've lost it. But I think shaming somebody for being single or having a dig at them, saying, oh, well, I understand why you're not married because, yeah, who'd marry you? Oh, fuck you. You lost the argument, you fuckers. When I was a kidlet, damn, I lose a lot of people when I'm on the highway because I think it might be hard to hear me. And it's usually when I'm having my drive therapy rant. By the time we cross over the bridge, I'm free of my woes and ready to have a fine evening out. But when we were youngsters, young folk, in the car with Mum, the three of us all lined up on the back seat without seatbelts because the car didn't have any. I like dicks too, Francesca. I'm incredibly dull. It's pretty boring being a straight white female. Like, I have no quirk, no hook, Anywho, but we'd be driving along in the car. We didn't have our seatbelts on because there weren't any. And we'd be driving along and Mum had pointed at church. She'd go, oh, look, a wedding. Now, we can take my brother out of this story because he was the youngest and probably just playing with his dick and didn't even look up. Not that we encouraged that, but you know what I mean. He was just, Will didn't give a fuck. And my sister would look at the church and she'd be like, oh, my God, a bride. And she'd be all starry-eyed and excited at seeing a bride. And I'd be looking up at the sky at a plane going, I wonder where the fuck they're going. The concept of being married, even as a little spring chicken, it didn't appeal to me at all. I had no materials wedding fantasies of being a bride, being beautiful, ever. In fact, yes, exactly. Very rude of me to judge the judges. It's like when I whinge about the whingers. I mean, do people realise that marriage is actually an invented concept? It's not nature. There are a handful of critters on the planet who mate for life, who are monogamous, but why would human beings, who are supposedly the most intelligent creatures on the planet, think that monogamy is the norm? Because it's clearly not. If monogamy was the right thing for humans to be doing, no one would be cheating. And it's a social construct. It's not nature, marriage. How dare you judge someone because they've decided they don't want to be chained to some other fucker for the bulk of their life? How dare you? I've been engaged 3 times. And every time I've got engaged, I've been like, do I want this? Or do I think this is what I should be doing? Because everyone I'm telling about it seems to be happier about it than me. And it wasn't a reflection on the dudes. If I was into marriage, I would have married at least one of them, possibly two. But I realised I just prefer collecting rocks. I wouldn't take anything personally, even if it's directed at someone else, Albanian Ellis. It's very hard to read chat right now on this bridge. This bridge is a busy bridge. Divorce must be horrible. I'm not a pure 100% family lawyer, but I do family law, and it's actually pretty easy. But I get it. I mean, it is very stressful on people who get divorced, but then I kind of think, well, you got married, so look at the stats. What is it? Is it 1 in 3 marriages end in divorce? It's a pretty good chance you're going to be, or is it 1 in 2 now? I can't remember. It might be 1 in 2. Like, the odds are there. That's likely you might be in that 50% that don't make it. And considering the only other way to get out of marriage is dying, that's how I'd get out of it. I'd just cark it. I agree, Albanian Ellis. That's quite a long paragraph and it's in lowercase, but I did manage to skim read it. Hey, look at the colour of the sky. I love that we're using the word spaz without getting upset. Imagine in an American channel. I mean, it is politically incorrect, but, there's a fair bit of ribbing that happens on this channel. We've got something on the other side of the road. Oh, someone's been pulled over. Naughty, naughty. That's one way to ruin your Friday night. I doubt it was a speeding ticket. It was a Hyundai Getz. It's hard to make those things even move, let alone go over the speed limit. But yeah, so that was my little vent. The single shamers, I really think you smug married assholes need to come up with some better arguments, because when I hear an asshole married person say something like that, when I hear them say, "Are you married?" No, I will not surprised. I actually think, thank fuck you are married and only one person is miserable because of you, and you haven't dated a string of people who are now fucked in the head because of the time they spent with you. Stay with your spouses so the rest of us can frolic happily without having to encounter you out in the wild, because my God, one night with most of you would, well, all of you people who say shit like that, one night with you would make you suffer for the rest of your life. So it's good that you're married and off the streets. But yeah, everyone's in an uproar all the time on YouTube about shaming. Anything you say, you're shaming. But nobody's stood up for the single people, and so I've taken that on. All the single happy people in my life would probably give a spouse the most incredible marriage imaginable if they fucking wanted it, but they don't. All my single friends are interesting and exciting and getting out and doing all kinds of crazy shit and going back and becoming doctors in their 50s and traveling to random places and swapping careers and building homes and doing all kinds of fantastic shit. You know, I still love my married friends, don't get me wrong, but there's not a lot of excitement when you catch up with them. I mean, bless them, if they're happy married and they're happy with their kids and they're happy in the same house they've lived in and the same jobs, that's great. But out of my single friends and my single friends have got a lot more to offer in terms of lively conversation right about now. You funk soul brothers. We're going around the docks. I'm aiming to get there at about 5:15. We're about 15 minutes early. That Hobart Brewing Co., that red shed on the left we just went past, oh, great place after work. It's a brewery, and there's also all these amazing food trucks. You can go there and have an after work drink and dinner for $10 and then head home. It's great. Married people fucking stink. I didn't say that. That's in chat. Albanian Ellis, you're cracking me up. Are you Australian Ellis with a new name? We've got Targa on down here at the moment. Targa is a race that goes all around the island. It's pretty cool. So you may see quite a few Targa cars. Is he being an asshole or is he just mucking around? Like, if he's just mucking around and his sense of humour is a little bit dark, that's fine. If he's if he's not your sense of humour, that doesn't necessarily mean he's not being funny. But if he is being an asshole, well, sometimes senses of humour get lost in translation. I haven't seen a lot of comments because I've been driving, but the ones I've seen looked like it was just him being funny and participating in the discussion. But like I said, I've been driving. It's incredibly hard for me to read all the chat. He's giving you shit, Joe. He's targeting. What? Well, I can't adjudicate because I haven't seen the entire conversation, and I've got a pretty lost in translation. That's what I thought. Don't sweat, guys. Sometimes sarcasm and dry humour. And if Albanian is actually Australian, then it's quite possible that his humour is being. Yeah, I thought so, Albanian. You're okay. Get the fuck away from my Tory. We get pretty dark in here from time to time, guys, and we are sarcastic and dry. And also, Australians take the piss out of each other a lot. Winky whispers, "Hello, beautiful. I haven't seen you forever." I have not seen you forever. How are you, gorgeous? I think the last time we chatted, Oh, might have been with your mum. It's lovely to see you, gorgeous. Francesca. Oh, just calling you a spaz. Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, it's not really politically correct, but it is a word that gets thrown around. I mean, when I was at school, it was the International Year of the Spastic, and it's obviously now it's not cool to call people that. But no, Albanian Ellis, don't make any comments like that. That's not cool, man. You, you're kind of upsetting everyone. You should maybe resort to some milder humour for a moment because I don't feel like adjudicating a fight. Look at this beautiful, beautiful harbour, the sky. Hey, Emery. Um, just feeling the room out. Well, it's a tough room tonight, so read it. Read it. Oh, you've had your spinal surgery. Oh, 10 weeks. My God. Well, hopefully you'll find some cheery things on YouTube. Gosh, 10 weeks. That's full on. I hope at the end of the 10 weeks, so you feel amazing, Winky. Yeah, no fighting in my car, kids. Just be cool. Exactly. We're not making fun of disabilities, Anne Marie. Hey, what did I watched a video of yours the other day when you were at, I think it came out judging from the tags, and you were looking at some pretty cool stuff. Oh, we're sending out positive vibes, Winky, that after 10 weeks you're going to feel amazing. You are amazing. You're one of the first people I met on YouTube. Doesn't that feel like a century ago? Gosh, so many people have grown and moved on and started doing really creative stuff, and others are still just bitching about the same people 3.5 years later. Albanian. Look, girls in chat, Albanian is very cheeky and his sense of humor is quite subversive. So cramping me up like the periods of yes, year. Being in menopause now, I think that's hilarious. I can laugh at period jokes now that I don't have them. Love you, Blue. Go feed your dumbass kids. It does feel like a century ago. And some people, it's like they're in some weird time warp. It's just nothing's changed. It's just the Groundhog Days. You can log onto YouTube any day of the week, month. I mean, I reckon I could log onto YouTube in 20 years' time, and the same people that are bitching still will still be doing it. Oh, I love all the homewares in Kmart, Anne Marie. Aussie Kmart's so much better than US Kmart. I do, Winky. In fact, we were chatting today. Well, you probably deserved that Albanian Ellis. That's what that's for. Shanna and I were chatting today, Winky. We chat most days. We've been both been a little bit busy lately, but we do chat a lot. I send her photos of Sunny, my cat, a lot, and I get photos of her boys back. She's gorgeous, as you know. She's been up on a few of my panels too. It's mutual, Winky. I adore her as well. So many people say, "Oh, you can't make real friends on YouTube," but you can. My channel's proof of that. Well, you're not supporting women when you're making fat jokes, Alice. Come on. From someone who's probably got about 15 kilos to lose, we're best mates. Where she lives is where I go to every week to see my surgeon. You guys need to catch up again for another coffee, Winky. When you're up to it, you and Shannon need to catch up again. We will, Francesca, for sure. Tori, you're a babe. Yeah, I don't really get called that very often. That's one thing I have discovered, and that's fine. I don't expect to be a babe in my 50s. I'm aging disgracefully and loving every minute of it. All right, I'm going to head around to Battery Point. I'll mention you to her again too, Winky. I mean, we haven't chatted about you for ages, but um, she loved it when you guys caught up, and we think about you often. But she's really happy. She's got the perfect job and everything now. 50s, you give me one for the road. Well, thank you. I'm pretty hot in my nifty 50s. You've got to watch out. So, yeah, that was the point of my life, apart from you guys keeping me company while I drove to town. I might go live when I drive home tonight, too. I'm curious to see who will be awake at that hour. This car, will it, won't it? It was turning, then it wasn't, then it was, then it wasn't. I'm pulling out while I get a chance. No, I say guys when I'm talking about girls, but that's another thing on YouTube where people get all butthurt and say, "Don't call me guy, us guys, we girls." Oh, whatever. Political correctness was good to get rid of some words that were really, really shitty. Full stop. But making everything offensive, oh my god. I've got to go, guys, as in girls. See you, Albanian Ellis. Thanks for popping in, causing a bit of lively activity in my chat. I mean that too. It's good to have all sorts in here. Anytime. You're always welcome. Everyone is. As long as people aren't racists or they're not having them, like they're being, overly assholey towards me, or if I've got people up on my panel and they're horrible to them, or if they're slagging off YouTubers by name in chat. Other than that, let them frolic. Thanks, Albanian Ellis. Although I think most of the chat's Australian, but cheers, Groover. Oh, your other channel got terminated. Whoopsie. Whoopsie daisy. I'm so excited about seeing my family. My brother's not here. He's still in Singapore, but it'd be lovely to see my sister-in-law and my niece and my nephews. I'll go down through the CSIRO car park and then I'll go and find a park. Well, it doesn't take us any getting used to, Winky, because it's what we know. It's what we've always known. But it's interesting. I mean, I've driven in countries, like I've driven in the States, and you work it out really quickly when you're driving on the other side. Because, I mean, just the fact that you're sitting on the other side of the car, um, like the driver's seats, Oh, no entry. Oops. I'm ignoring that sign because I want to show you this. It's one thing I love about Hobart. There's just car parks and stuff that you just go to work. This is where you park, where you go to work. Look at this. Like, I mean, seriously, it's pretty as a picture. Hey, Michelle P. But yeah, and I mean, somewhere like Tassie too, in the city, most of the streets are one way, so it's very easy to, adapt. But because our driver's seats are on the right hand side, it just seems natural. But yeah, I've converted to driving on the other side pretty easily, except for when we're in Maui. I was with an American friend who's also from Arizona, funnily enough, and I got her to drive. Isn't it stunning? So we're in the suburb of Battery Point at the moment, which is like the first suburb out of the city in one of the directions. Obviously, there's quite a few suburbs out of the city in other areas, in other directions too. But yeah, this is Battery Point, but it's a pretty posh suburb. I could take you for a quick little spin around it because it's not a very big suburb either. Hey, Veruca Salty Salt. Yeah, we've got, all right, I'll make a mental note. There's so many places. Hey, look, the autumn leaves are starting to kick in. The trees are finally getting a chance to be autumn trees because we had such a long summer. And now they're like, oh, shit, that's right. We start to change colour now. But a week ago, all of these trees were still green. And I was saying on one of my lives that down here, like Battery Point and around Parliament House and everything, the leaves would all be changing colour, but they weren't. They were still green, but they finally. I'll do a really quick little spin around Battery Point. But just so you know, where I'm going is this building coming up on the left. I'm doxing myself, but I'm going in that building just on the left. That's where my uncle and auntie's apartment is. But there's these gorgeous little, some of the houses in here are just absolutely stunning. And a lot of them are waterfront as well. Oh, what's going on here? They were as clueless as I was. But yeah, so this is a very wealthy suburb of Hobart. Lots of big houses with waterfront views and amazing gardens. Um, so we're going along here, which is Clark Avenue, and all of the houses on the left have got waterfront views, and they're like a lot of them you won't be able to see, but because they're behind big walls and stuff. But there's some massive houses along here. This is, I mean, for Tasmania, there's not many suburbs where every house sells for over 1 million, but this is one of them. I love that weird woman was sort of trying to reverse on the road, and those pedestrians, that elderly couple, were as mystified as we were by that lady's driving. But yeah, there's all these little one-way streets and beautiful little houses, and then we'll backtrack around to sort of the hub of Battery Point. And they've all got amazing views of the mountain too, like the mountains up ahead. So they've got like the harbour views and mountain views. And then there's lots of parks as well. Up on the left, up here, this white pub, Shipwrights Arms. It's kind of a bit of a Hobart institution. Very popular pub with all of the yachties. We have the Sydney to Hobart, and heaps of people sail in Tassie because there's Is that this person reversing? Oh no, God, it's all happening. But I really do need to go and see my familia. And I'll just show you the main drag of Battery Point. So there's all these beautiful old convict built buildings. This restaurant straight ahead to Angelo's has been here forever. It's an amazing Italian restaurant. But there's this whole strip of like little restaurants and cafes, pubs. It's like a little village, Battery Point. Got to backtrack around. Sorry, I'm not reading chat at the moment. This church just on the right, that's where my brother and my sister-in-law got married. The one I've only got one sister-in-law, but yeah, they got married there, St George's. Terrible show. I'm embarrassed. I don't know what you're talking about. Have fun walking the pooches, Winky. So yeah, so this is Battery Point. It's very pretty. I used to watch The Real Housewives of Melbourne. I never watched it, but I know heaps of Americans who did. I haven't watched any of The Real Housewives. I'm excited the Circle's back on, the American one this time. I love the Circle. So yes, very pretty Battery Point, but you won't be able to buy a house here unless you've got a lot of money. Real Housewives of Melbourne was bad. Is that the show you're talking about? Right. I might go live tonight driving home just to see out of curiosity who's around. It's not going to be a late night though. I'll probably head home. I'm hoping I'll be home by about 10 o'clock. It's not the gathering with the girls is not a massive boozer. We're just catching up and having a bit of dinner at one of our friends' places. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a party all night. Australia is expensive. At least in Tassie, it's still relatively affordable compared to some other parts of the country. But if you're buying in Tassie, you wouldn't be looking at this suburb unless you had $1 million to spend at least. Now, there was a little park right out the front, so I'm going to hopefully get it. Is this car leaving? Because if it is, it is. There's two parks here. I'm going to go and catch up with my family. You loved it, Winky. The Australian shows that some of my American friends also love. The Bachelor and the Bachelorette. The Australian version's hilarious because um, some of the bachelors and bachelorettes have been pretty funny. I will, Veruca Salty Salt. Thank you for popping in. Thank you to everyone. Sorry if I missed anyone while I was driving. Thanks, Francesca. But the point I did want to make was if you're listening to a YouTuber who's married and they're having a discussion with somebody who's single and they ask that person if they're married and they say no, and that YouTube creator goes, oh, well, that explains it, or who'd marry you, unsubscribe because they're judgy. they're judgy. And in defense of single people the world over, whether you're single as in on your own. Oh, thank you, Winky. I know it's so exciting because my niece and my sister in law have been in quarantine for 14 days and they're finally back here. And their son, who lives in Melbourne, he's flown home. Their other son, who lives in Hobart, they're seeing for the first time since January. So it's pretty awesome. And we're super close. Like my beautiful sister's coming tonight too, and she and I are actually best friends. Marigold Flowers, great name. If I had a cat that I could name, like from a kitten, I want to have a marigold. A friend of mine used to have a cat called Little Marigold, and she was the grumpiest cat on the planet. And I just love the name. Yeah, family time's pretty special. But yeah, we're super close, especially because both of our parents are dead. So the three of us are very tight. But we'll also FaceTime my brother, who is still in Singapore. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, call out people on YouTube if they judge someone or have a dig at them because they're single. Because, yeah, on behalf of singles the world over, whether you're truly single or whether you've got a lover, you're perfect just the way you are. Being single is a choice. And married couples who have a go at you because you're single are no different to people who have a go at you because of how you look or who you like on YouTube. And I hate using the word shaming, but it actually, if you're going to use shaming, you are shaming people for being single. And why is that okay? It's not. Just like it's not okay to shame people who don't have kids. One of the greatest things about being a human being is we've all got choices and people make choices that work for them. And who the fuck are you to use that against them because you're losing an argument? Weak. And all it does is make me feel sorry for your husbands or your wives. If that's your attitude, you must be a delight to be around. You must be a hoot at parties. There's nothing wrong at all, Winky, but it seems to be used as ammunition against people on YouTube. I just have to say something about it. So on that note, this single who's got a hot little lover who's 20 years younger than her, and she's having a perfectly wonderful life without having a ring on her, which is actually, I've actually got 3 rings on my wedding finger. Look at my rocks. My life's pretty fucking awesome. Oh my God, Stella always arrives right when I say rude words. Hey, Stella. A village raises the kids. We all participate in one way or another. I agree. Thank you. We do. And you can ask my beautiful nephews and niece, who I'm about to see, who their favourite relative is. And they'll be like, you, because you're the cool auntie. It is lovely bling, isn't it? It's got a family history. One ring was my grandmother's that she left to me. One was the ring my dad gave my mum when I was born. And one was the ring my dad gave mum when he replaced her engagement ring. But yeah, you're all perfect just the way you are. Whatever lifestyle choices you've made, they're right for you. So good on you. And anyone who resorts to having a dig at somebody or judging someone because of the choices they've made in their own life, sorry, but you're not worth a pinch of shit. And on that delightful note, I'm going to go and spend some time with people who are worth way more than a pinch of shit. And to all of you yeah, that's true, Stella. And then when children are born as well, there's even another divide. For everyone who's popped in, you're all worth more than a pinch of shit. Thank you for hanging out with me on the drive in. I hope you enjoyed the scenery. I love you guys, and you're all welcome here. Whatever your choices in life have been, you're perfect as far as I'm concerned. Until next time, stay groovy and Call a family member and have a chat with them. You'll make their day or night. I promise you. Love you guys. Oh, and you'll feel great for doing it too. Bye.